Sword Art Online's most enjoyable arc to me is the Excalibur arc. It's this little 4 episode arc where the gang is just playing the video game. No crazy life or death stakes, just some gamers gaming. Alfheim Online looks like a genuinely fun game, but half the time the stakes are too high for it actually to be enjoyed as a video game. But thanks in part to Sword Art Online for helping spread the gospel of VRMMO series, probably one of my favorite genres of anime. And in the fall 2023 season, we were blessed with not one, but two VR MMO related anime that both understand the assignment. They both understand the appeal of playing a video game in different ways. These series are Shangri-La Frontier and a playthrough of a certain dude's VR MMO life. Both have no life or death stakes. There's no death game. It's just two gamers having fun. As I'm probably one of the 5 people watching VR MMO life, allow me to fill you in on it. The story follows Earth, a middle aged man who plays one more free life online, which is an excessively long title, but whatever. It's a typical fantasy RPG VRMMO with a few quirks. Earth decides basically to pick every underused class because he's like, I just want to hang out and play alone. Except the series is dead set on letting him not do that. He's just a guy in the end who happens to be very lucky, but is also still intent on just playing a video game the way he wants to. And that's the joy of VRMMO life, is that it is just Earth playing the game how he feels so inclined to do. Sometimes he'll spend an episode just trying to craft new gear for himself in new and creative ways. Other times, he's spending an entire episode dungeon crawling with bootleg Power Rangers. What I love about VRMMO life is that it never takes itself too seriously. The vibes are just good and nothing is ever really high stakes. It's a great feeling where it feels like the series understands that you were here to watch someone have fun playing the game, but it also seems to understand the community aspect of a VR MMO. I love the bootleg Power Rangers episode so much because I'm like, yeah, sure, they're just a group of guys role playing as a Sentai group. I've seen Stranger Things from Final Fantasy 14 pictures. It's weird, but it still fits in the realm of possibility for a online video game. The emphasis on crafting and experimentation in the game too, where Earth has to physically make the gear and add his own flair to it, while still making things that don't possibly work, like an X bow, where it's weird, but I'm like, sure, it's a video game. Why not? And all of that makes it look like something I would love to try and play. Like, I want to make an X shaped bow and have it actually work well. That's funny and kind of cool. But it also allows for a sense of imagination, since at the end of the day, it isn't real life and it isn't trying to be. Everyone can be their quirky little selves, and I'm all for it. Part of what I love about online gaming, especially with VMM or MMOs and just MMOs in general, is that you can be free to express yourself however you want or play whatever character you want. You can RP as a cat girl. That's totally fine. It is something that people do. But you can also spend an entire day crafting a singular item. People play RuneScape. I imagine that's pretty close. VRMO Life understands that the game needs to feel fun, but the show also has a really small detail that sold me on it being a story about playing a video game. The first episode of VRMO Life has a couple segments where the main character just hangs up the headset for the night, goes to bed, which is a good reminder that this is just a normal guy playing a video game in his spare time. Sometimes he spends way too long playing it, but it isn't his entire life. He has responsibilities and a job. And that made me like him even more because I too have responsibilities and a job where at the end of the day I come home and I play some video games and I chill out and relax to do that. I'm playing through Metal Gear Solid 3 right now and it's such a fun time where I don't have to worry about real life concerns and can just be like, yeah, I am having a blast playing as Solid Snake. I love this a lot. VRMO Life only briefly touches on Earth's real life concerns, but I'm glad it doesn't. It allows him to just enjoy his time playing. It understands that for Earth, this is a fun thing he does and lets him treasure that time. On the other side of the spectrum, we have Shangri-La Frontier, a VR MMO anime with a much more hardcore side. There still isn't any death game element. Sunraku dies like a million times in a couple episodes, but the atmosphere is still more action oriented. VRMMO Life is a much chiller watch, while Shangri-La Frontier is adept at keeping the energy as high as possible. But the action in it, it's still rooted in a video game. Sunraku dies, but he's the type of gamer that would probably try and beat Dark Souls with like a rock and no armor. And I think the appeal of Shangri-La Frontier to me is that it seems like a genuinely fun game to play, but also one that has a lot of depth to explore. And I also just love that Sunraku is so infectiously excited about the game and it permeates every scene. He just never backs down from a challenge, but is still trying to play the game the way he wants to as much as he can, given the arbitrary restraints set on him by the big dog. But Sunraku is a hardcore gamer in every sense of the word, although his specific brand is playing bad video games, which is a stark contrast to Earth, who is just hanging out, playing the video game to chill out at the end of the day. Whereas Sunraku is just addicted to gaming. It is basically the only thing we ever see him do. He is also a high schooler, so he has infinitely more time on his hands than someone with a full time job. Most of the characters we've met in Shangri-La Frontier feel like hardcore gamers, regardless of their age. But I love how it integrates other games with it, where it's like Sunraku has friends from other games that are also playing Shangri-La Frontier, even if one of them is a woman who seems to want to kill him. But I like that Pencilgun and Katsu are people that he has met from other games, but he still interacts with and is still like online friends with. And I think that really sells the appeal of online games where it's you can make some genuine friends in them that carry over to not just the video game. But both Shangri-La Frontier and VRMMO Life understand MMOs and video games as a whole. They understand and play with the online communities and characters that inhabit them, while also creating video games that feel fun to play and watch. Either Sunraku or Earth or the overpowered protagonists. They might be stronger than the average player, but they still die and mess up. They feel distinctly like people playing a video game. Sword Art Online fumbles occasionally because it has cool video game mechanics, but it barely plays with them. It's interested in telling a different story 99% of the time, but I would absolutely kill for a Sword Art Online series of the game just being played by the whole little group. I love the mechanics of the game, and seeing a video game be played as a video game and not a high stakes death game would be great. But all in all, watch Shangri-La Frontier and VRMMO Life. Out of time of writing, they haven't finished airing, but I like them both a lot, especially VRMMO Life, because I love having chill anime to watch, and I think more people should watch it.